Well, Bob, thank you so much for joining me today for this stewardship conversation. I really appreciate you taking some time and sitting down with me. I have a few questions that I want to ask you and that are on my mind as we head through this stewardship season. The first one being, given the challenges that our congregation and the world has faced over the last 6 to 8 months, how have you seen our congregation's commitment to mission and ministry and the vision of the church really continue throughout this time, and your role specifically as chairperson of the church council?
I would say one of the biggest things that has been very successful is the virtual service. I think that we both show our vision and our mission in terms of loving others and spreading God's word. And although it's not in person, virtual service has been very, very successful. The other thing that the congregation has been really, really good about is apportionments. It looks as though we'll have 100% commitment for the first time in many, many years. And under the circumstances and the fact that we're not attending in person and still meeting 100% apportionments is fantastic. The Zoom meetings have been very, very successful, both in terms of the committees. Committees are still meeting, albeit in Zoom. And missions is still going forward. We still have the programs for feeding the homeless, food drives. So I think that the congregation has been fantastic, and we've done a really great job in terms of meeting both our vision and mission as a church.
Second question I have for you is, through calendar year 2021, what do you see as the biggest challenges that are ahead of us?
I think just the concept of a return to normalcy is going to be very, very difficult. Things not only will seem to be different, they will be different. I think that we just as a church, and I think we will as a church, understand the difficulty of that. We also, of course, coming next year are going to have the transition with Pastor Tim retiring and you, Pastor Nathan, hopefully taking over as senior pastor of our church. That's obviously a very, very important event. It's not necessarily a challenge, but it's something that we are looking forward to, but it'll still be unknown how we might handle that and what might happen because of the virus.
What do you see are the biggest opportunities we have that are in front of us?
I think one of the ways we can look at it, if a congregation wants to look at it this way, it could be a new beginning. They could look at it as a chance to start afresh, anew, with renewed energy. I think the other thing is there's opportunities, and it's important that the congregation know if they would like to join a committee, they're more than welcome to join a committee. Talk to either myself or to you or to Pastor Tim and share your interest, and we'd be glad to find a home for you. And I think it's a huge opportunity for everybody out there to join in working with and for Oakhurst United Methodist Church.
What do you think is going to be needed of our congregation as we return to in-person mission and ministry over the next several months?
I think patience is probably the most important thing that everybody needs to keep, and I think they will keep in mind. It's a good opportunity for me to bring up the fact that we've had a transition team in place. Margaret Strickland and Michelle Stewart have headed that committee. They've put in hours and hours of work to make this a safe environment. And I think that if we look at it not as if they're putting up roadblocks, but that they're just trying to make a safe environment, that's the most important thing to keep in mind. And I think that it's going to be a challenge. It won't be the same, and as long as everybody kind of knows that, there will be an awkwardness, so to speak, for a period of time, but that's just normal, and then we can go forward as we always have.
Are there any final words that you want to share with us about this stewardship campaign or about your hopes for the church moving forward?
Well, it reminds me, I used to go to a church a long, long time ago, and there was a minister who kind of reminds me of you quite a bit. And I remember one Sunday he got up and said that for a church, the first thing we need to do is learn how to crawl. And the congregation got up and joined in saying, let's crawl, let's crawl. Then he said, after crawling, what we need to do is learn how to walk so that as a church, we can do the things we want to do. The congregation stood up and said, let's walk, Reverend, let's walk. And then he said, after we've learned to walk, in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish with our church, we need to run. We need to learn to run. And the only way we can run is if we have money. And the congregation got up and said, let's crawl, Reverend, let's crawl. I don't, that church isn't around anymore now. But I think Oakhurst will come through fine. I don't think that they will crawl, and I think we'll be very successful moving forward.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. It's been a real pleasure to hear your thoughts on where our church is at.
No problem. Thank you.